and I'll keep it hush.
I want to make this video primarily about the constellation that most people know as Orion. Well, the Bible makes it clear that that is actually Christ, not Orion. There in Genesis chapter 3, verse 16, I believe it is, where it talks about the seed of the woman is going to bruise the serpent's head and it's going to bruise his heel. Well, Orion is depicted as having his foot on the head of the serpent, and that's the way that it's been shown in the stars. And sometimes that serpent would also be a scorpion, but whether a serpent or a scorpion, Scorpios is the scatter in the Greek. So when it says the wolf scatters the flock, it actually is talking about the word is Scorpios, and a scorpion is a false teachers, and false teachers scatter the flock. And other words for false teacher are serpent and locust. The locusts consume the green things, the green grass, and nomos is the word law, and it means prescribed food for an animal, and we're called sheep in the biblical context. So anyways, the locusts eat the green grass, the scorpions scatter, and the serpent means a false teacher as well. So those are all nomenclature for a false teacher. So as I said, the reason why this is significant is Orion is actually idea of an imposter, and in the Hebrew that's the word kisel, and it means a giant. And whenever we find giants in the Bible, for example in Genesis chapter 6, it says there were giants in the earth, but that giant means bully. So it's actually Christ in the stars and not Orion. Kisel, actually, the word that's used for Orion in the Bible, is actually has the idea of foolish or stupid, and they use the word there in Jeremiah chapter 10 when it says the ones who worship that stock. I believe it's Jeremiah chapter 10 verse 8, and it says like they're brutish and stupid. So if you read Jeremiah 10 and you see brutish and stupid, right there, I believe it's the word brutish, or I can't remember right off, but anyways, that word kisel means stupid, and that's the word that was rendered Orion. So Orion is actually an imposter or a look-alike, because the thing is not Orion, it's Christ, the Bible says there in Genesis chapter 3 verse 16. So what that means to us is, that means that, and it might not be Genesis 3:16, but in Genesis chapter 3 when it talks about the serpent bruising the heel and him crushing the head, Christ crushing the head, which is the seed of the woman, that is a reference to the stars. Now the story is written in the stars, like Genesis or Psalm chapter 19 says, even the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth forth his handiwork. And when it talks about Abraham going to count the stars, there in Galatians chapter 3:16, he speaks as the seeds unto one and not seeds unto many. And so Orion is actually not Orion. Orion is those star system is actually Christ written in the stars. Just as there's the virgin in the stars, and the virgin was always depicted as having a seed in her left hand and a branch in her right hand, and Christ is called the branch. And the Pleiades, or the seven star systems, was always known as the seven women or nymphs that belonged to Diana, and she actually had them come up into the stars. And there in Genesis chapter, or in Revelations, it talks about the seven stars that are in the right hand of Christ. So the seven stars of the Pleiades are actually the seven churches, and it says these seven angels and the seven stars and the seven churches, in reference to the 7-branched menorah. It's not actually 7 candlesticks as we know candlesticks. That's talking about the menorah there. So also, the thing is that the reason Orion is put there for Christ is that Satan always tries to look like Christ. So when you find the Bible talking about Nimrod, he would be a giant in the biblical context because he was a big-time government guy, right? So a tyrant or a bully. So Satan always tries to look like Christ in the biblical context. And in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, it says it's no surprise because Satan's ministers are transformed as a minister of light. And that explains more why the church pew pulpit system is a false system. So I just wanted to share this with you, and I hope this helps. I hope you know a little bit more about what the stars say, and it's not Orion, it's Christ, and just a little bit of the original message in the stars and how the churches are actually a picture of the Pleiades. And all right, well, I hope you find that interesting. Thanks for watching. Bye.
And I'll keep it hush.